Hello, we are back for our regular book club, Be Holy, for I Am Holy book club. We are reading The Complete Visions of Anne Catherine Emmerich. And these are beautiful visions that she's had in her life. And they're all authentic they've been, what word am I looking for?
They've been approved by the church. They're approved by the church, and they were thoroughly investigated. And it takes the church a long time to approve. So look below, and you can see the playlist from the beginning. And she was beatified in what year, Jeanette?
2004 from Pope John II. So everything is for real, guys.
Well, it's approved.
Well, it's approved, and I
believe it, but
I believe it because
the church says
the
church says we don't have to believe it. But honestly, they checked it historically. There's no way she would have known that. She was in bed most of her life. She did, it was the 1800s. She did not have access to things like internet to look things up. She was uneducated. There was no way she would know these things. So I believe it.
Yeah. So today we're reading The Holy Family Among Robbers. At some distance from the road by which they were traveling, a light glimmered through the darkness. It proceeded from a hut belonging to a gang of robbers who had hung a light on a neighboring tree, thus to allure travelers. The road to here and there was broken by pits over which cords with little bells were stretched. The ringing of these bells gave notice to the robbers of the presence of luckless wayfarers. All of a sudden, I saw a man with about 5 comrades surrounding the Holy Family. All were actuated by wicked intentions, but when they looked at the child, I saw a glitter ray like an arrow penetrating the heart of the leader, who straightway commanded his comrades to offer no injury to the strangers. Mary also saw the ray. The robber now took the Holy Family to his home and told his wife how strangely his heart had been moved. The people were at first shy and shamefaced. Something was unusual for them. Still they approached little by little and gathered around the Holy Family, who had seated themselves in a corner on the road. Some of the men went in and out, while the woman brought to Mary little rolls, fruits, honeycomb, and cups containing something to drink. The ass also was placed under shelter. The woman cleared out a small room for Mary and brought her a little tub of water in which to bathe the child. She also dried the swathing bands for her at the fire. The husband was deeply impressed by the demeanor of the Holy Family, and especially the appearance of the child. He said to his wife, "This Hebrew child is no ordinary child. Beg the lady to allow us to wash our leprous child in his bathing water. It may perhaps do it some good." The wife went to request the favor of the Blessed Virgin, but before she had time to speak, Mary bade her take the water she had used for Jesus' bath, wash the sick child in it, and it would become cleaner than it was before attacked by the disease. The boy was about 3 years old and stiff from leprosy. His mother carried him in put him into the water, into the bath water. Wherever the water touched him, the leprosy fell like scales to the bottom of the tub. The
Wow.
boy became clean and well. The mother was out of herself with joy. She wanted to embrace Mary and the child Jesus, but Mary, stretching out her hand, warded her off. She would allow neither the child nor herself to be touched by her. She told her to dig a hole deep down to a rock and pour the water just used into it, that she might always have it for a similar purpose. Mary spoke with her long and exacted from her a promise to embrace the first opportunity of escape from her present abode. The people were all delighted. They stood around the Holy Family, gazing at them in wonder. During the night, other members of their band came to the hut, and to them the boy's cure was related. The robbers' reverential bearing toward the Holy Family was so much the more remarkable, since I saw that night many travelers attracted to their hut by the light, immediately taken prisoner and carried deep into the forest to an immense cave that saved for their special storehouse.
Food
What?
that served.
It lay under a thicket, the entrance closely concealed. In it were clothes, carpets, meat, goats, sheep, and innumerable other stolen things, all in profusion. I saw also boys about 7 or 8 years old, whom the robbers had kidnapped. They were cared for by an old woman who lived in a cave. And
Mary slept on that night. She sat upon her couch on the floor, perfectly still. At early dawn, the Holy Family started again on their journey, in spite of the robber and his wife, who wanted them to stay longer. They took with them a supply of provisions put up by their grateful host and hostess, who also accompanied them part of the way, that they might escape the snares. The robber and his wife took leave of the Holy Family with expressions of deep feeling, uttering these remarkable words: "Remember us wherever you go." Upon hearing them, I had a vision in which I saw the cured boy afterward turned out to be the good thief who was on the cross, said to Jesus, "Remember me when thou comest into thy kingdom." Wow.
wow.
The robber's wife, and after some time, joined those that dwelt around the Balsam garden. The Holy Family went from here further on into the desert. When they had again lost all trace of anything like a path, they were a second time surrounded by all kinds of animals. Among them were huge winged lizards and even serpents, which pointed out the way to them. At a later period, when unable to advance through the sandy plain in which they were, I saw a very lovely miracle. On the other side of the road sprouted up the plant Rose of Jericho, with its crisped branches, its tiny flowers in the center, and its straight root. On they went, now right joyously, watching as far as the eye could see these plants springing up, and so across the whole plain. I saw that it was revealed to the Blessed Virgin that in some future day the people of the country would gather these roses and sell them to travelers in exchange for bread. The name of this region sounded like Gaza or Goz. I saw the Holy Family arrive at a town and district called Lepe or Lake, in which they were numerous canals and ditches. Sorry. I have to pick a time to do this. Hold on. I don't know what it's doing. Oh boy. I'm so sorry. I have to schedule a restart.
Canals and ditches you left off.
Okay, hold on. Okay. Sorry.
Did you stop it? You should stop it when you have
I'm
a problem
sorry.
like that.
I should have. Darn it. You see, you got to remind me of these things. I don't know where there is a thing. I apologize. Okay, where did I start?
Canals and ditches or something.
Canals and ditches with high dams. I saw them crossing the water on a raft. Mary sat on a log, and the ass was standing in something like a trough or tub. Two ugly, brown-complexioned, half-naked men with flat noses and protruding lips ferried them over. Our holy travelers came now to the house on the outskirts of the town, but the occupants were so rough and pitiless that without saying a word, Mary and Joseph moved further on. I think this was the first pagan Egyptian city they had yet reached. They had made up to this time 10 days' journey in the Jewish country and then in the wilderness. I next saw the Holy Family on Egyptian territory in a level green country full of pasture grounds. In the trees were stationed idols like swathed dolls, or like fishes wrapped in broad bands upon which were figures or letters. Occasionally I saw people fat but short in stature approaching these idols and venerating them. The Holy Family sought a little rest under the cattle shed. The cattle going out of their own accord to make room for them, they were in want of food, having neither bread nor water. Mary no longer had nourishment for her child, and no one gave them anything. Every species of human misery was experienced by them during this flight. At least some shepherds drew near to the water to water their cattle. They too would have gone away without giving them anything, had not Joseph's entreaties moved them to unlock the well and allow them to have a little water. Again, I saw the Holy Family weary and exhausted in a forest, at whose egress stood a slender date tree, the fruit all clustered on top. Mary approached the tree. The child Jesus on her arm prayed and raised the child up to it. Instantly, the tree bowed down its top as if kneeling so that Mary could gather all its fruit. Wow. I afterward remained in that position. I saw Mary dividing a quantity of the fruit among the naked children who had run after them from the last village. At a quarter of an hour's distance from the tree stood another unusually large one of the same kind, very high and hollow like an old oak. In it, the Holy Family lay concealed from the people that followed them. That evening, I saw them take shelter within the walls of a ruined place where they stayed overnight. Wow. Jeanette, I think we should go on to this balsam garden. It's one paragraph, so let's just do this real quick.
Okay.
The balsam garden. On the next night, the Holy Family continued their journey through a sandy, desolate wilderness. Famishing for water and exhausted by weariness, they sat down on one of the sand hills, and the Blessed Virgin sent up a cry to God. Suddenly, a stream of pure water gushed forth at her side. Joseph removed the sand hill that was over it, and a clear, beautiful little fountain jetted up. He made a channel for it, and it flowed over quite a large space, disappearing again near its source. Here they refreshed themselves, and Mary bathed the child Jesus, while Joseph gave drink to the ass and filled the water bottles. I saw all kinds of animals like turtles drinking at the gushing waters. They did not appear at all afraid of the Holy Family. The soil over which the water had flowed soon began to clothe itself with verdure, and numbers of balsam trees afterward grown there. When the Holy Family, returned from Egypt, those trees were large enough to furnish balsam for their refreshment. The place soon grew into a little settlement. Wherever the heathens planted these trees, they withered. They thrived only when the Jews, whom the Holy Family had known in this country, went to live there. I think the wife of that robber, whose boy had been cured of leprosy by the bath of the child Jesus, went there too, for she soon escaped from the robbers. Our boy, however, remained with them some time longer. A balsam hedge surrounded the garden, and in its center were several large fruit trees. At a subsequent period, another large well was dug, out of which quantities of water were raised by means of wheel turned by oxen. This water mingled with that of Mary's spring and watered the whole garden unmixed. It would have proved injurious if it would have proved injurious. I have seen that the oxen employed in turn the wheel could not by any means be forced to work from Saturday noon till early Monday morning. Wow, a lot of supernatural happenings in this reading here.
I like it.
Yeah, I'm glad I added that balsam on because it talked about the good thief when he was a child again. That was the most wow. But going back to the beginning here, I was scared when, yesterday Facebook chose the Holy Family among robbers, unfortunately, for the thing, because I only was on it for a second, but it grabbed that second. And but here I was afraid they were going to be, attacked by them, but little did I remember all the supernatural that would surround them. Because I always wondered that, Jeanette, how could they, not have had supernatural things throughout his lifetime that were recorded by, John, in the book of John, who was with Mother Mary after Jesus died. So we know that she obviously told him things, but some little things like this were left out. And
yeah, I think one of the reasons why that is because God, Isaiah 55:8-9, we're never going to know. But what I imagine is that God knew all the kinds of people that are going to read the Bible. So he didn't want to scare people off with seeing things that they knew scientifically was impossible before they had the faith to understand the Holy Spirit. You know what I'm saying? So that's what this is what I feel, because you have a lot of faith, but yet the unicorn thing kind of confused you at the start, and you were a little iffy. So could you imagine if somebody didn't have your faith?
Could be
A little iffy if they had your mentality scientifically, like you are very intelligent. I'm more of a supernatural person, a weirdo out there. So for me, it's easy to believe all this.
Well, I think you could be right, but I also think that he didn't hide the supernatural things that happened that were there. But
No, the Bible's just too little to
too much
fit everything. There's no way.
And John may have chosen not to put it in too, because remember, he was writing it, although with the Holy Spirit. So But in any case, you know, we don't know why, but some things, maybe Mary didn't think to give him all these details, you know, that could be that simple. Who knows? But I believe that these are real.
Oh, I do too. That's why
I
I'm so
really do.
thankful for
And
these
I didn't.
mystics.
I didn't in the beginning when that unicorn thing, I was like, nah, I didn't like that. But I found that it really was more her imagination, not imagination, but her confusing something there is what I think happened.
Well, you know, it was a creature. It didn't
Right,
necessarily have to be a unicorn.
right,
We just have that name, and we know that that's not like they, you know, weren't ever real.
right.
But do we really know that there are not other things that were similar to them with different names and different looks? We just don't know. You know, prehistorically, there's so many crazy stuff out there, these creatures and these dinosaurs and these flying things that we've seen fossils for, but yet we find it hard to believe, but yet there's proof scientifically that people want, you know? So Isaiah
So
55:8-9, you just, yeah.
so we don't know, but in any case, I thought it was so interesting that this guy, uh, intuitively knew something was special about the child, this stranger. So he took them to his own home. So that shows you how much the baby Jesus had an aura of amazingness around him.
Well, Jesus did let out some kind of like a light, which I think was just something that hit him in the heart. You know, he
An
like,
aura.
yeah, he made him feel the holiness surrounding that child at that
And
moment.
it protected them. It protected
Yeah.
them. So here I thought it was interesting how he brought them to his home and he was so impressed by the demeanor of the Holy Family. What do they say when we come up against evil? Offer no resistance, which for humans, that is a very hard thing. When you have evil, you push against it and you get away from it and you're scared. The Holy Family gave none of that. They were perfectly, you know, I'm listening to that book, The Mind Gut Connection, and how the stress of a mother during pregnancy affects her child. And I happen, you know how you like your K dramas? Well, I watch the K Kardashian, the sinful ones. And that baby that was born of um of uh um of surrogacy, which is a sin, um, is having all kind of digestive problems right now. That Kardashian, Khloe Kardashian, she said that she really felt disconnected from that child, which is why the church does not go for that. And that child is throwing up all kinds of formulas. Supposedly, when a mother is stressed, highly stressed, it affects the child for the rest of the child's life when she's pregnant, because the microbiomes in the mother's um uh vagina, believe it or not, is carried through with the child for the rest of her life. They're finding this in the science. So this child that this Kardashian had, this woman did this surrogacy because she's needs money, and they get paid about $100,000 for having a baby for someone, or 50,000. So this mother is stressed. This child is not hers. She does not love it, and she's pregnant with it for 9 months. It's affecting her. Stress is affecting that child for the rest of his life. That's why the church, in its wisdom, tells us, no, we don't do surrogacy. So, you know,
Yeah, I don't watch those real talk show things.
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean,
I watch the fake stuff.
yours are at least nice, where they're not doing all that, you know, selling sex. but I just love current events, and it's, your K-dramas are my true crime. And I don't watch other realities. Like, I wouldn't watch things like those and Housewives of Atlanta. That just makes me sick. But the Kardashians, I started watching when I was not as far in my walk with God. And I never disliked them, but I knew they were in sin. But I knew that they were just confused, because they're part of I forget the name of the country that the family came from, but they're Christian supposedly, but they use a Christian church and it's corrupt. They give money to that and they use it for their taxes. So it's all corrupt. But in any case, it's not godly. But here the Holy Family is put in danger with these people that actually were robbers and did. And I found it interesting that the father knew. And then Mary told the mother. And here the Holy Family stays meek and mild, which we're supposed to do, which I have a hard time. And like the mind gut thing says, I was affected by my mother's stuff too. When the mother's pregnant, we carry it through our lives. Here the Holy Family, that means Anne from the Essenians. She had money, remember, and she was very calm, and that affected Mary, and then Mary affected Jesus. What were you going to say, Jeanette?
I don't know if it's in this part yet or not, but the part that I'm trying to figure out why Mary wouldn't want to touch the lady.
We'll get into that. Hold on. Yeah. I'll tell you why. Okay. So here I was shocked when she said the bathing water. At first I was like, ew. But guess what? Mary knew that intuitively already. She didn't even have to ask her. Mary already knew. That is how Mary was so blessed. She knew things. And the baby right away is cured just by Jesus as a baby. That was his first healing, Jeanette. That was his.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Isn't that amazing? Yeah. So the baby's 3 years old with leprosy, and it all falls to the bottom of the tub. And then Mary tells her that she should bury it. But first, before we get to that, let's come to where she wanted to hug Mary, and Mary would not allow herself or the child to be touched. It's because they had they were negative intentions. And touch, just like Jesus touching heals, that's why you have to be very careful who you allow to touch. That's why Reiki is very dangerous, because and I've had my own experience with Reiki. I can't tell you because it's too personal.
I don't know what Reiki is. What is that?
My mother was a Reiki master, and it's very dangerous.
What is it? It's like a yoga thing?
Sort of. But when people touch, they heal. But what can happen to a practitioner is they can touch a Reiki practitioner. They can touch and they get all of the negative energy of that person.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't believe in that stuff.
Oh, no. You need to. What did Mary do? Mary believes in it.
Well, no, I believe it like in
Mary believes in it.
I know, I believe it in like a saintly way, but not in a like.
No, it's real. That's why you don't.
Really?
Yes, that's why the church says don't do it. You need to believe in it. It's real. That's why Mary didn't let her.
I guess I don't know enough about it. I don't.
Because it's okay, because it's a very, it's not something really in our understanding, but we do still do it. And these people are trying to harness energies, and it's dangerous. We have energy fields around us. And the person that does the Reiki can be affected by the person who is sick. They say not to do that. I've gone to healing circles. I've taken my child to healing circles, and I regret now, except when I took them to the priest at the church. I took them to the priest at the church, and I believe it made the difference in what we were trying to combat. So I believe in it 100%, but do it from the healing churches. There are, like, we had some in South Florida. My mother took me to, and I took my daughter to. She had some, some difficulties, and boy, it helped us tremendously.
Well, I believe in like healing prayer, like if somebody
Right.
prays on you, but
Well,
that's
you can't believe in good without believing in evil. Because,
well, I do believe in evil, but I don't know how to explain it.
well,
I
you
just
just don't understand
I
that.
don't know enough of it
Yeah,
to,
that's okay. I mean, we don't need to understand evil.
but I mean Reiki, I mean, don't you get that from other gods and things, isn't it?
Well, that's the thing, is they say it's just from the universe, but that's the thing, that it's not from Jesus Christ. Even if you said Jesus Christ, you can't invoke him like that, that same way. It's dangerous. So we just, like you just said, it could be coming from other, energies. So we don't need to understand evil. So don't feel bad you don't understand it. We don't need to have all that knowledge of good and evil. So we just have to be obedient. So don't feel bad you don't know. I happen to know because of the evil I've encountered in my life, which I didn't need to know, and it was a bad thing. So be glad you don't know that. Anyway, that is good that you have that innocence. It's a beautiful thing. In any case, so here they are, that then what does Mary do? She spoke with her long and exacted her a promise to embrace the first opportunity from the present abode. What is Mary saying there? Get away from these thieves, because the woman is more innocent in that. Her husband was a thief, and she's telling her, it's like a domestic violence case. Mary's telling her, these are not good people, get away from them. And later we see in this reading, she does, but the child is left there and becomes the good thief. And God does save him. And I always wondered why Jesus saved that good thief. He was a thief. But now we know why, Jeanette. He helped the Holy Family, his mother and father. Even though the father was a thief, he helped the Holy Family. So how beautiful and full circle. And now that makes sense to me. Something I always wondered. It always bothered me that he saved that good thief. And it didn't matter, that he was a thief. And so, and
They even kidnapped those kids and put them in that was sad.
where's that?
It says that they had a storage
Oh, yes.
place,
Yes.
and they also kidnapped kids. I'm like, wow.
Yeah. I didn't see the kids part, but wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it says they kidnapped like 8-year-olds or something like that.
Oh my gosh. So anyway, I just thought it was so interesting that okay, so they I saw that night many travelers who tracked to their hut immediately were taken prisoner. Oh yeah, it does say that. I guess I wasn't paying attention as I was reading to that. I was just so amazed that Mary recognized that these people were dangerous and told the woman to get away from them. And look, they kept her child after she escaped. So that was amazing to me. So I saw boys about 7 or 8 whom the robbers had kidnapped. Yes, I must have missed that because I was thinking about Mary. They were cared for by an old woman who lived in the cave. Wow. Mary slept none that night because it bothered her knowing these things. She could sense these things. And they went out, and then here they follow them, protecting them. So they were protecting them, and because they were so grateful, they healed their child. But Mary was afraid of the evil. She sensed it. We will often sense danger around us, and we pick up people's energy fields. And I know that from all the things I've been through, Jeanette. Jeanette, luckily, doesn't. But yet I still see the good in people, and I'm fooled by people. I'm easily deceived because I always project the good on. I see their highest potential. I don't see the negative. That's why I protect myself. You know how many people I have trying to talk to me, trying to, not just on Facebook, everywhere in the, people are always trying to talk to me. I do not, because I am, like I said, I'm not a good picker of husbands, and I don't see easily people's things, because I always see the best in people. And that's a naivete, believe it or not, after all I've been through. And my son's the same way. He does
Well,
not.
it's because you have a good heart,
Maybe,
You
but I don't know. But I just know that that I have to protect myself, and people that have not seen a lot of evil need to protect themselves from people, like Mary is protecting herself. She was very nervous. So the robber took his wife and took leave of the Holy Family with expressions of deep feeling, saying, "Remember us wherever you go." And where does that happen? Then the good thief turns out to be the child. They kidnapped her own child, and that's why Mary told her, "Get away from them." So I found this full circle, and this just gave me such beautiful feelings in my heart, because I always, it answered my question of the good thief, Jeanette. That's what this book is doing for me. And I'm so thankful to you that you pushed me, because I did not want to read this.
Not me, it's the Holy Spirit, girl.
I know, but Jeanette, I did not want to read this book. And I'm so grateful that you pushed me. So then they go and they joined those that dwelt around the balsam garden. And this is another thing. Oh, I'm glad.
Hey, balsam. I'm trying to think if I can picture what a balsam is. What is it? Isn't it like a tree?
Yeah, and there's wood. Think about balsam wood. Okay, let me see.
So
Balsam,
it's a tree. Balsam is a tree.
yeah, and balsam wood is particularly
Is
beautiful.
it those trees that are really fat with those big roots?
I'm not sure. We'll have to look that up. I'll here, let me stop us and go look for one. Hold on. Pause. So this is balsam wood, Jeanette. And what did we just say?
It looks like a Christmas tree.
And maybe that's why these Christmas tree ended up being the Christmas tree, because, and the tree bent down to Jesus. I don't see fruit though. They said there was fruit on it. So I don't know what the fruit was, but
Well, if it's a Christmas tree, it would have pine cones, right?
yeah, but what is the uh hold on, let me stop this again and look for fruit on the balsam wood. So it seems that the health benefits of the balsam apple, there is some kind of balsam apple. So it is, and it also has healing properties.
I don't know. Maybe there are different kinds of balsam trees, different
Right.
varieties, and some might have fruit and some don't. I don't know. I'm not that good with
Well,
plants.
look here, it says that there are different ones that are in the Middle East area. So it gives a description in the leaves and the flower. So it's some kind of it prevents heart disease, boosts immune, healthy skin, improves vision, protect. I happen to think this must be it, because this is there's a video even, so I'm going to put this link below. But wow, isn't that interesting? Not only is the balsam wood beautiful, look at this balsam wood. I know balsam wood is beautiful. And it looks a little bit like a Christmas tree here. So isn't it funny that this ends up as the Christmas tree? So who knows? Who knows? So here, the good thief, and then they talk here about what you were talking about. there was surrounded by all kinds of animals, some of them huge lizards and even serpents. You were just talking about some of the creatures may have been different back 2,000 years ago that are extinct. We have animals now that go extinct. So why wouldn't we then? Maybe one looked like
Exactly.
one
Exactly.
looked like a unicorn, and here are these lizards. We really don't know. It was 2,000 years ago. So,
Exactly.
you're right about that. So here it goes on and it talks about the Gaza, and that's where the thieves are. And what happens now? We always have the Muslim thieves trying to steal the land that was given by God.
And also sometimes with the animal situation and how weird some of the things are that people don't believe it, but guys, read Revelations. You want to get really out there?
You know what?
That is the Bible. And up in heaven, we picture angels so perfect with these wings and this perfect, beautiful face. Honey, let me tell you, read about the angels going around in circles around the throne room in Revelation with all those different faces and creatures, and then come and tell me.
Yeah, you're right.
Not believing something.
You're right. So here, then they go on to describe these ugly brown complexion, half naked men with flat noses and protruding lips. It sounds like these are some
goblins.
No, it sounds like this is a different race of bears.
Yeah, something like that.
And they happen to be negative. They happen, not all obviously are that way. There are some most beautiful
oh yeah, of course,
that are better Christians than some, so but these just happened to be, and they were half naked. So they were the what do they call the uncivilized, some of those groups that are
Egyptians. They were like an Egyptian tribe, I guess, from those days, right?
No, but these were the ones that are like they don't wear clothes, and they what are they called? Oh, I can't think of the name.
I don't know.
But they're wild. They're the wild ones. I can't think of the name of them, but anyway, so they remind me of that. And people will know, and I just can't think of the word here. But they're uncivilized. Like they're still around today, way back in the jungles. Like they're like jungle people. I can't remember the name, but anyway. Sorry, I'm losing my words, guys. I'm getting old. So anyway, then they move on. Thank God they get away from these people, and they go back to the Jewish country where it's more safe for them. And then she sees green country full of pasture, and but in the trees were stationed idols like swat dolls. So they were still in some negative territory, but it seems like it's transitioning out. And some of the bad people were even gave their animals food, and they didn't give them water, or gave their animals water and didn't give them water. Every species of human misery was experienced by them during this flight. So they really went into places
they didn't have a good time, man.
They were not accustomed. This trip to Egypt, hiding from
was hard.
Yeah, hiding from Herod. This the evilness of it all. But
and we picture that a lot, reading, the quick sentence in the Bible that says, and they ran to, because of the angel telling them, he took everything and fled. But we picture in our minds all the adventures that they must have had when they fled, good and bad.
We kind of pick it up with that one sentence. You're right. You kind of get that sense. That's how the Bible is. It's shorthand. Remember how they were talking about Mark being written, but even all the Gospels, because even at the end of John, I think it is, that says all the things Jesus did, we could not put in this book. It would fill thousands of books, millions of books. So in any case, that's like this. We know it was a very difficult, they had to fly from evil, and so they experienced a lot of evil. They were exhausted, and Mary approached the tree, and what happens? she prayed and raised the child up, and the tree bent down. Another supernatural, amazing thing. In all that negativity, God gives them a, what does God give us in our prayers and in our lives sometimes?
Graces.
Consolation. There's desolation and consolation. He did not, that he knew the Holy Family was getting weary. So what does God do sometimes for us? He sends us consolations because we are at low points. And he used his son to reach and get this beautiful balsam apples or whatever fruit they were. And then what happens? The Holy Family they conceal themselves and they take shelters in the walls of a ruined place where they stayed overnight. And thankfully, we read this next part. They walk into the balsam garden, which becomes the Christmas tree, Jeanette. I believe. I really do. I think
That's good.
I know, I love it. So here in the balsam garden, they go through and they're just exhausted. And what does God do? He once again gives them another supernatural spring. He gave those nasty people a chance to be giving. He allowed this Holy Family to suffer for the salvation of that person that gave them water. Those evil people, they gave to the beasts, and they gave, then they got some water then Joseph got some water, it says. And that was an opportunity. Every negative thing we experience, we have to look at it as somebody in this situation is getting an opportunity for salvation. They are given choices, because our choices are, do we choose good or do we choose evil? And when you are going through a bad time, you don't know whose salvation is being crafted by the Holy Spirit, using you, one of God's people, maybe just as a story to tell. Maybe we don't know, but every negative thing that happens in your life, how we respond to it can make a difference in the lives of others. Because look, that criminal was so impressed with Mary and Joseph's demeanor. So when we are experiencing negative things, the Holy Family in themselves, maybe just like the good thief, it turned around the full circle. Maybe what happened with those people offering water to the beasts, closing their hearts to Jesus a little, maybe it'll give them a little help by the time they end up in their judgment day. So here they are finally, and they get a consolation. There's no one around. I guess that salvation, that God just feels that they need a consolation. So what does he do? He gives them a supernatural spring of water. Jeanette, don't you love these supernatural moments?
Yes, I love them.
And doesn't it make your rosary, when you're doing the rosary, aren't you seeing things differently now in your rosary?
Well,
I am.
It kind of brings to light the readings that we read about not to worry, that we are much more to God than the sparrow, this last Sunday's reading. And not to worry, that God will take care of us. Sometimes it's hard to believe that, because
we're human.
We need to also take care of ourselves. We can't just say, okay, whatever, God's gonna take care of this. We got to do our responsibility to take care of ourselves, but at the same time, not to worry so much, because in the end, he will take care of us. He won't let anything happen
that
to
does
us.
happen is for our salvation.
Yeah.
Remember, the obstacles that we face is for our salvation.
We're gonna be, our main goal is to reach heaven. So this is just a little passing by to our home, so we got to see it that way.
And the suffering that you do is to help transform you. Remember that.
So you see this, and you see how God took care of Mary and
And gave
Joseph and this
consolation.
baby Jesus, how
Yeah.
he took care of them, and how, he did what needed to be done to get them through to where they needed to go, right?
Yeah.
A little suffering along the way, but at the same time, a lot of blessing.
Well, they didn't need salvation. They had that. That was in the bag for them. But all the people they encountered needed salvation. And we have to remember that for ourselves. We have no idea how God is using us to save others. We have no idea, because that's our purpose. So just remember any suffering you do, and people that come into your life that make you suffer. Instead of hating your enemy, pray for them, because that's what God wants from us. It is all for a purpose, and you don't know how you may be helping that person, because maybe they're attracted to you because they see that goodness in you. And instead of being angry and then allowing them to pull you into their Satan area and their negative place, you bring them into the good. It doesn't mean you let people walk all over you. They didn't do that. Mary didn't allow her to touch her. She didn't allow that. Don't touch the evil, but don't be angry. It comes out in your, it doesn't mean you let yourself be a doormat. It's not like that, you know. So try to use this. I mean, this experience, this right here, Jeanette, has helped me. And that's why I'm explaining what I'm seeing. So I'm no authority. I kind of always knew this, but this cements it for me, is what it does. It's just so beautiful. It's just so beautiful what the opportunities we're given as human beings from God. What he does, he never gives up. What was that thing I just read, that God never gives up hope on us? He never gives up on us. He doesn't give up on those thieves. Just like us, those people, and you consider your enemy and you see as they're going to hell. We don't know that. God is giving them every opportunity. When you see people doing the most evil things, we cannot, I feel that way about Democrats, but we cannot say that they will not be saved when they recognize their evil and they are awakened. So, not to say they won't spend a long time in purgatory burning off those sins.
That's not up to us, though.
Right,
Not up to us. We are meant to love and forgive.
We can't know if at the end of someone's deathbed they say, oh my gosh, I see all the evil. But that's what purgatory is for. So be assured they will feel the pain. Purgatory is painful. That's why you pray for your ancestors that were sinful, that are in purgatory. Your prayers can get them out of prison earlier. That's a prison.
And some people, I truly believe that some people here on earth suffer so much. You see such suffering sometimes, and you're thinking, oh my goodness, why is this possible? Why is this happening?
Unity for them.
A lot of people, first of all, we don't know their hearts. We don't know what's going on. Another thing is, some people are doing their purgatory here on earth, I think that those people go just straight to heaven. You see all these saints,
if they
these martyrs and the suffering they went through. I'm thinking they go straight to heaven, man. They're like, poof.
Wait, here's the difference.
I just had to share that. Sorry.
No, you're right. But I just want to add this part. I knew a guy who had a sick child and he blamed God. And he said, I don't believe in God. I'm an atheist now because my child is sick. So we could choose to do our purgatory. We could choose for our salvation here on earth. So yes, in a sense, what you're saying is correct. Some people do their purgatory on earth, but it's a time of a choice in how we respond to that trial and that obstacle. So we are given opportunities to save our souls, and it's through those experiences. Some people, depending on how they, like I look at Lynn, my friend, whose daughter, only child, was killed for just terrible, we believe someone texting and driving. And the girl, no real consequences. She happens to have cancer, supposedly. Maybe that suffering is because she will not take responsibility, and the state of Florida is not holding her responsible. So if you're a tourist, be very careful, because if someone ends up texting in Florida and kills you, they will not be held responsible, because they will not subpoena the texts. But in any case, that girl had an opportunity at salvation by accepting responsibility and suffering for the rest of her life that she killed someone by speeding and maybe texting. We don't know what she was doing. But in any case, she was speeding. But she was speeding, we do know. That we know. She was doing 73 in a 55, and it killed someone. Do not text and drive. If you're in Florida and as a tourist, your life could mean nothing, just so you know. But in any case, that girl was given an opportunity and she has cancer. Well, what happens? She may end up getting an opportunity to maybe suffer and recognize her responsibility. And maybe that's why God allowed her body to have cancer at 22. So in any case, yes, you're correct. People can do their purgatory on earth, but every negative experience we have is an opportunity, and we can't judge others' salvation. We don't know if at the end, we don't know. We could think, I always think, oh, they're surely going to hell with all they're doing. No, we don't know that, because at the end, they may very well renounce their sins, repent. God gives us opportunity after opportunity, and he even used the Holy Family for all these thieves going through this negativity. You see, Herod wanted the death of the child. What does God do? All evil he turns for good. It saved the good thief, because they had to run and they ran into him. It may have saved some of these people that gave their beasts, or at least gave them a little less time in purgatory. We don't know. This gives us so much insight, Jeanette. It's so beautiful. So, okay.
So something to ponder on, guys, the reading today.
So now let's go to this last part. This balsam garden is absolutely beautiful. And Joseph removed the sand, and the clear, beautiful fountain jetted up. Here's Joseph again, quietly doing his work, and they have suddenly water. And Mary bathes the child. And I guarantee you that area is still a healing place right now. And the turtles are drinking from it. All of these animals around that were looking for water, the Holy Family blessed when they needed water. So look how God turns the evil that Herod did, and he turns it to good. So any negative that happens in your life, you have to think, what good can come of this? What can God turn to good? And we have to look at the good. We have to look at the good. The negative things that happen. My kids and I always say, bad things happen for a reason, like my car crash. I ended up finding out I had lung cancer. I ended up getting a new car because I got the money, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to buy a brand new car, because I was using an old one that my son always has cars that he's always working on. So he gave me actually my old car from 2007, which ended up going to my daughter while she's in nursing school. So look, here we are always good can come from negative things. And we have to remember that. And who knows whose salvation that we are doing. And here all this beautiful things happen. The robber who's cured of leprosy, and then she told that woman to get away from those negative people, and she does. So who knows, maybe another child would have been born, who knows, but she got away from them, even though they kept her child. She escaped the robbers, but the boy remained for some time longer, and he becomes a thief like them. But then God saves him, and now we know why, because there was some goodness in his mother and a little tiny bit in his father that saw the child Jesus and brought them home. And so what are they? They're in this beautiful balsam hedge. Apparently there's a balsam hedge too. And so we could see, Jeanette, that there were all different kinds. When we went over here, there's all different kinds that are like, look like bushes too. So here we see that. So water mingled, and they were even the oxen, the water mingled with Mary's spring. It was Mary's spring, Jeanette. Wouldn't you love to go to Mary's spring? The whole garden would have been injurious, but what happens? Because Mary and the child are bathed there, it turns to good. Even nature, God turns to good. The oxen could by any means not be forced to work from Saturday till noon. Even the creatures God is making new in all this. I mean, this was such a beautiful reading, Jeanette. The supernatural.
Yeah, I liked it. It was good.
What was your favorite part? Tell me.
Is the light coming out of Jesus?
Oh, okay. Okay. Mine was my answer for the good thief. I am
Yeah.
so thankful for, because it always was something that nagged at me. I hope you guys are getting stuff that, out of these readings, because I can't tell you how much I am getting from this, Jeanette. I mean, today's really shines through. Seeing this,
I
seeing
was expecting when I read the title of the robbers, I'm going, oh no. Oh no. I was expecting
me
Saint
too,
Joseph fighting or something. No.
me too.
No, everything totally opposite of what I was expecting, which is life, guys. Life hits us. We're
That's right.
expecting it to go this way, and it's
That's right.
totally different.
Oh,
We're
so
surprised with
yeah,
life as well, with our plans that we
yeah,
make
yeah,
surprise us in ways we can never imagine.
yeah,
And they're good surprises. Yeah, there's bad also, but the good ones I like to remember.
yeah.
The good
That's
ones.
what I love about you. You look at the joyful side. And today turned out to be a joyful thing, which we didn't expect.
Yeah.
Oh, anyway,
Okay, guys. So you have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll see you tomorrow, God willing.
this is one of my most favorite readings. Bye.
Really?
It is. It is something so simple and nature born. Oh, anyway.
Bye,
Bye.
guys.